Well, hello. So, some of you know me. I'm Jillian. I run a store and own a store with my husband David called The Lumberjack's Daughter. So, in that store, we carry cutting boards and charcuterie boards. So, tonight's video is just a little how I do charcuterie boards. It's not like a have to, you don't have to follow everything I do. Um, I bought everything at like a local grocery store here in Yarmouth, Nova Scotia, and they had a lot, but they didn't have like super fancy cheeses and stuff like that, but they have good cheeses. So I'm going to show you like a basic cheese and a basic meat. And well, what I think is basic. Somebody else might be thinking it's pretty fancy. Maybe it is, who knows? But I'm going to show you one of each, and then I'll show you, I usually put crackers on the side or any kind of bread item. And if I'm doing a large charcuterie, I put a lot of side dishes like nuts and fruit and figs and stuff like that. There's big bunches of them. But on little trays like this for 2 or 3 people, you want mostly product, you don't want mostly garnish. So I'm going to show you how I do them and we'll go from there. So I think I'm going to start with the cheese. Okay, so here is our cheese selection that I've picked up at my local grocery store. So here I have a 2-year-old aged cheddar. Over here I have a Maplewood smoked cheddar. In the center I have a mild Gouda. Over here I have a espresso cheese, which is surrounded by and espresso in the cheese. Here I have a plain Havarti, and this is what we're going to work with tonight. Okay, so now with my cheese, you can see I've already cut it. So I've cut it in a couple different ways. So this espresso cheese actually comes in a wedge. So I like to slice it starting at the thinnest side, like the tip, and slicing up until I get these bigger slices. The little slices, they're usually snacks for me when I'm cutting cheese. So those are cut like that. My Havarti is cut in a cube. My Gouda is kind of cut with like I just cut it into slices and then cut down the center at an angle. My old cheddar is cut into wedges, and then my smoked cheddar is just cut into little rectangles. So I'm going to start with the one I love the most, which is the wedges for the old cheddar. So I like to cut them into wedges like this and then do a zipper effect. So what you do with a zipper is you just switch back and forth from each, oh, it's falling apart a little. The older the cheese, the crummier the cheese. So I just go back and forth, leaving one the same, and then flipping the next one, leaving one the same, flipping one. And I have to say, my cutting was not the best on this one, so they are different thicknesses. It looks way cooler when it's the same thickness. So there's your zipper. So this one, I'm gonna put right at the end here. And it actually makes it a lot easier for people to grab, so they're not sticking together completely. So it's really easy to grab this in a cracker and kind of move on. So next one, my Havarti. I just want to pile the Havarti, and I may not use all of this. We always have really great cheese omelets the night after I do a charcuterie board, because we usually have some really great leftovers. So I'm just gonna pile that. Maybe move it a little up here. And I am gonna put some little embellishments and garnishes just to, because a lot of these are light cheeses, like off-white or light. So I want to add some color to it as I go. So there's my little pile of Gouda. And now, or Havarti, sorry. And now my Gouda, well actually I think I'm going to do something with a little bit of color. So now I'm going to just pile into a bit of a fan. Let's see if I can do this. My espresso. And I'm going to do 2 layers. And when you're cutting your cheeses, if there's a rind like this, cut that one last because it will get all over your cutting board. So now I'm going to do Gouda. And for Gouda, I kind of like the just switchback. It's sort of like the zipper, but we're not stacking it up. We're just stacking it beside each other. Up and touch my other cheese with this one. And now the last one is my smoked cheddar, and I think I'm just going to do layers because it's the end of the board and I want it to come to a nice end here, but I don't want it hanging off too much because if I'm going to be taking this somewhere and I have to wrap it or carry it, I don't want things falling off of it. So I think that's all of that one I'm going to put on. And you can always bring a little baggie of your extra cheese to refill partway through the night if you're going anywhere. But at home you can always have a backup baggie in your fridge and replenish it partway through your party. Alright, so now I have my cheeses on. I want to dress it up a little bit. So to dress it up, I have a few things. So I have figs, yellow figs or golden figs. I have a nut mix. And then I have some grapes. So the grapes, they are in big clumps. So what you want to do is cut your grapes into manageable sizes. So if someone has like a little hors d'oeuvre plate, they're not having to like pluck off all the grapes to get it off the tray. You want it to be like 4 or 5 little grapes just together in a bunch. And I cut off these big long stems so they don't take up space on my board. Alright, so there's my little bits of green. Now I'm going to open my figs. And with the same scissors that I just cut my grapes with, I'm going to cut some of my figs in half because they are fairly big and seeing the inside of a fig is really nice. So I'm just going to put a couple pieces here and there. And then this one is just a really beautiful looking fig. So I'm gonna leave this one full and just put it as a garnish. And if someone wants to take it and eat it like that, that's fine too. Okay, so I think that we're pretty good with figs. So I'm gonna put those to one side, and now I'm gonna open my mixed nuts. So I'm just gonna grab, you can use a spoon to scoop some of these out, but I did wash my hands, even though I have staining on my hands, I did wash my hands before I started. So I'm just gonna take little handfuls and put around the board. Something a little salty, a little crunchy to go with the board. And that's it. There's my cheese board. Okay, so there's our cheese board. So I say in all, I did about 20 minutes at the grocery store, about 15 minutes cutting and chopping, and about, what was that, 5 to 7 minutes putting it together. So you'll be a hero if you bring this to any kind of event. Everyone will be blown away. And honestly, you can throw crackers into a little basket beside it, and it looks charming. Okay, and here we have my meat selection. So I have cacciatore salami. I have a lot of salami, just FYI. So cacciatore salami. I have a Genoa. I have a kielbasa. I have a turkey slice. I have black peppercorn, Hungarian, and Old Forest salamis. Then I have a red wine salami, and then I have a ham. So I do like getting something a little fancier, but actually when we picked this stuff up, the deli was closed. So these are all pre-packaged and sliced, except the kielbasa that I had to slice myself. Okay, so before I start laying things out on my board, I'm not having wine, believe it or not, but I do have a wine glass. So with this wine glass, I am going to make some salami flowers. I know it sounds silly, but it's very simple and they're very cute when they're done. So to start, you need a wine glass and salami. The larger sliced salami, the better. So if it's a really tiny salami, it won't work for this. But I have some large salami, so this will work perfect. So how we're gonna start, I'm actually gonna do 2 different salamis on this one just to mix up the colors. I'm gonna use this peppercorn, and I'm gonna use the Hungarian. So I'm going to put it on my glass and fold it down. So I'm gonna do 1 layer, overlapping just a little bit on each one. There we go. Now my next layer, I'm going to do the same thing, overlapping. I'm gonna move it just a little bit so they're not exactly the same as the last row. There we go. Now I'm gonna go back to my other salami. And you don't have to be perfect with it. It does not matter really, as long as they're folded into the glass. So I only have 2 left. There we go. So now my salami is on the rim of my glass. I'm going to turn it over. And there is my flour. What do you guys think? And as people take them from the top, it'll just work down into just a little round of salamis. It's really nice. So this is a very small board, so I'm going to just do the one for this one. So I'm going to put my wine glass aside, which I have to clean before I use it again. It's all full of salami juice. So now, my next meat, I'm going to do my kielbasa. And I think just to highlight my flour, I'm going to do a fan around my flour. I don't want to go right around. Let's tighten that up a little bit. And use your judgment. And if you don't have any, just eat the meat. Doesn't have to be pretty when you eat it. So now I want something that's red again, or contrast the color. So I have my red wine salami. So what I'm going to do is fold it, but hold it. Fold and hold. Fold and hold. Fold and hold. Fold and hold. And I'm just going to tuck that under my kielbasa a little bit to fan out of it. And then I'm going to do another one of those just to put on this side. So fold and hold. There we go. I'm going to tuck that one right under my flour there. Now I have some turkey that I'm just going to fold and roll. So I'm going to fold it this way and then roll it this way. Just put that there for a second. Fold. And roll. And now, very exciting video. Watching a woman fold meat. I might get like an OnlyFans site after this. Alright. I'm going to put just a little pile in that corner. I'm actually going to face it the other way, because then the rolls look nicer looking out from the board. So now I have some of my cacciatore, and I'm going to kind of hide what I just did with the rolling of the meat there. Maybe a little too much there. And now my ham. I'm going to do, there's a slice of ham. I'm going to do a fold and then two folds, so it's like a little wedge. And I'm going to put that right here. And I'm going to do several of those to pile up here. I don't want to cover up my little fan too much. So fold, in, there we go. And now I have one more salami, and I think I'm going to just do a half and a half. Half and half. Like that. Slippery meat. Half and half. Use my kielbasa to anchor it. So that's pretty full now. So this will feed 2 to 3 people easily, especially with crackers, and then if you have a cheese board besides. But I do want to fancy it up and give it a little bit of color. So I don't want a lot though. So I do have these tricolor peppers, which are really nice just to add a little color. They're not spicy, it's just a sweet pepper, but they look really great with meat. It brings in the color. I'm having my husband open it because my hands are oily from the meat. So I want to pick out maybe a yellow one. And I want to do a red one on the edge. And maybe an orange one over here. And that's all I'll do. Just a little bit of color. And she's done. Okay, so we have our cheese tray, we have our meat tray, and we need something to put those things on. So I put together a little cracker basket. So I have, you want that little bit of salty crunch. So it's great with the nuts, but crackers, it just adds to any tray. So I have about, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 types, and they all vary a little bit in crunchiness and texture, and I didn't want to fill the basket because that would take about like 5 boxes of crackers. So I actually scrunch up some fabric or napkins and put in the bottom, and then I put a napkin or a fabric on top of that so it looked fuller, and I then arranged my crackers in there. And all these crackers are from the aisle in the grocery store. I think a lot of these I got like 2 for $5 or 2 for $3 from like President's Choice or PC brand. Crackers are crackers. They're really good. I know everybody has their favorites and you can buy those. But if you're taking them to a party, keep the favorites at home and put the generics in the basket. Because the cheeses are so good, you won't need flavorful crackers. So that's what I did for crackers. So here are our 3 kind of setups. This would be great for 6 to 10 people. So 2 boards and a basket, and you've got a half an hour in the grocery store, and you've got it made. So thank you for watching. Hopefully you watched to the end of the video, and we'll see you next time with a different kind of board.
I like this riff, so I think I'm gonna write a song with it. It's light and calm and sweet and at the same time upbeat. But I can't think of what to say, so I'll just write it anyway. But now I need a chorus. This would be perfect if only the verse fit. I don't know how I'd mash the 2 together. It's maybe a new tune called Once in a Blue Moon, about the chance of finding love. But it's already been done. There must be a million sad sack stories in the used bin. I don't really want